Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to make succotash. Now succotash to me is a mix between lima beans and corn. Some people use tomatoes in it, some people don't. But I'm going to make it with our tomatoes because we have tomatoes from our garden that are ready. And we also have a few lima beans that are ready. Now, the deer ate most of our beans, so I don't have very many lima beans. I'm going to supplement them with a thawed bag of lima beans that I had in the freezer and a can of corn, or you can use a frozen bag of corn that's thawed as well, and our tomatoes. So let's get started. All right, so here are the ingredients that we will need today. These are the lima beans that I picked from our garden. And you'll see that some of them are green because they're early lima beans, and some are white. Those are the ones that are more mature. And then we also have our peppers from the garden. These are Melrose peppers. I have 3 strips of bacon that are chopped, 1 sweet white onion, a bag of frozen lima beans that I thawed out, a can of white corn, a tomato, 2 different sized tomatoes that I had in my garden. These are 2 different varieties. And butter. This is salted butter, tarragon, salt, and black pepper. This was our steakhouse tomato that we grew, and it looks delicious. We're going to chop this up and add it to the ingredients. I have all my ingredients prepped and ready, and we are going to go ahead and start with 2 tablespoons of butter in our cast iron pan. So I'm going to turn this on around a medium to medium low heat. I'm going to add about 2.5 tablespoons of salted butter and let this cook down just for a minute. And to that, I'm going to add our chopped white onion. This is a small white onion, but you can do a red onion or any type of onion you like. And these are 3 chopped Melrose peppers. Now you can also do red bell peppers or orange bell peppers, or if you don't like bell peppers, you can leave them out altogether. But since we have a ton of these in our garden right now, I probably have already picked 50 or so. We're going to add them to most of our meals this week, so we're going to add these in. Okay, our butter's sizzling, so I'm going to go ahead and add in our chopped onion, and I'm going to add in our peppers. I'm going to let this cook down until the onions are a little bit translucent. The peppers are softened up, and the rest of this will come together pretty quickly. If you don't like to use butter, you can also use olive oil or avocado oil or whatever type of oil you have on hand. But as a true Southern cook, I'm going to use salted butter. Listen to that sizzle. All right, so these deer ate most of my beans, but I did manage to get a little handful of them so you could see what they would look like straight out of the garden, and I'll show those pictures now. All right, so these either fell off or got old or dried, and you can hear they rattle a little bit. So these are good ones to use to replant. These, they don't rattle, they're softer and they're still attached inside. So these are the ones that we'll use to eat, and these are the ones we'll use to plant. So here's one of our lima beans, and when you open them, you can see, oh, this one has 4. Most of them have about 3. That this is what they look like. The younger ones look green. The older they get, they're white. So I'm going to save a few of the much older ones that look a little smaller and dried to plant for next year. And we're going to go ahead and add these into our mixture next. The onions and the peppers have cooked down quite a bit. They've gotten soft. The onions are just starting to get a little color to them. And we're going to go ahead and add the beans in next. Now, I also have pre-cooked bacon. I cooked mine ahead of time, but if you want to cook it first and use the bacon fat to cook this in, you can do that too. But mine's already cooked, so it just made it a little easier and skipped that step for us. I'm going to add in our garden beans first and our thawed frozen lima beans. So this was 1 big bag of lima beans. To that, I'm going to add our corn. Now this is a can of corn, but you could also use a bag of the frozen corn. Just make sure you thaw it out first. We're going to give all of this a nice stir. And if you don't like the tomatoes or you don't want the bacon, you can stop almost here as soon as we add our seasoning. But this time we're going to add our bacon and our tomatoes and our seasoning to give it lots of flavor. So I'm going to let this cook just for a couple minutes and then we'll add the rest. All right, we're going to go ahead and add our salt in. So I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of salt, not too much because the butter was salted. And I'm going to add some tarragon. I like to use this in chicken salad too. It's a really good secret ingredient. But we're going to add it to our succotash today. So I'm just going to sprinkle some in, maybe about 1/4 of a teaspoon. Not too much, but just enough to give it that little hidden flavor. And some ground black pepper. Again, I don't measure this too much, but I'm not a big black pepper fan, so I don't want to have it too much. So maybe 1/4 of a teaspoon of that. Okay, we're going to get this stirred in and let those spices mix in with our corn and our lima beans. And now we're going to add our tomatoes. Now, I have 2 varieties of tomatoes in the bowl. One of them is the steakhouse tomato that I showed you a little while ago. The other one is an early girl tomato. So it's a nice red tomato. It's about half the size of the steakhouse tomato. You can also use cherry tomatoes. Just chop them in half and put those in here just for the color and the texture. But we're going to add our tomatoes to our mixture now. And give that a stir. And this dish comes together pretty quickly. It doesn't take long for corn and lima beans to cook. And now I'm going to put in our bacon. Now, if you want a more bacon flavor, I highly recommend you cook the bacon in the pan first, and then you have the bacon juice, the bacon fat, to kind of absorb all that. But I want the lima beans to be the star of this show. So I'm putting the bacon in last so that it has just enough bacon flavor, but doesn't quite steal the show. How good does that look? All right, so one final step is I'm going to put this lid on this pan. So all of those flavors come together, they marry up, they just get sealed in, all the juices, all the flavors together. I'm going to let it sit for about 5 minutes so that the lima beans get nice and tender, and then we'll come back and give it a stir and see how it looks. All right, there you have it. So it may be cooked on the skillet for about 10-15 minutes total, just long enough to get those lima beans softened. You don't want them to be crunchy when you bite into them, and you don't want them to stick to the bottom of your pan, so make sure you have a well-seasoned pan like cast iron or a non-stick pan, and one that you can put a lid on. This also is suitable for your Instant Pot, so if you have one of those Instant Pots, you could throw everything in there and it's ready in no time. But I hope you enjoy this recipe. We're going to serve it with dinner tonight, so we'll let you know how everyone likes it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Hey guys, we're eating Sloppy Joe's and Succotash, and I'm going to be trying it. I don't know what it is or what's in it. That is really good. It tastes like just veggies, but with some like flavoring. It tastes really good. It doesn't taste like veggies that like, I see corn and like lima beans. It doesn't really taste like corn and lima beans. It tastes like something else, but it's really good.
Hey,
Vince, you gonna try the succotash?
did you make this succotash?
I did.
I guess I'll eat it. That's pretty good.